Aaron, talking openly about the one thing he wants before he can get another Super Bowl ring. All that and more as we get up with you, starting right now from our Seaport studios. Greeny here, hoping wherever you are, it is safe and warm. We got a little weather, but we have a terrific show for you as we look ahead to what is going to be one of the great football weekends of this entire year. And it begins with one of the biggest games in recent memory. Here we go. Chiefs, Saints. Run at numbers, here they are. A combined 846 winning percentage this season. It's the fourth best matchup this late in the year in the Super Bowl era. But there's more. The Saints and Chiefs are both 36-9 over the last 3 seasons. That is tied for the best record in the NFL. So this is a potential Super Bowl preview. And to the question mark, Drew Brees. He has been designated to return to practice, but will he start? Sean Payton says Brees still has, quote, a ways to go as he recovers from 11 broken ribs and a punctured lung.
We haven't ruled anything just because we don't have to. You know, he's got a ways to go still, and he's going to be someone that we're not going to hurry back and just put him in the game. I think that the significance of the injuries are such that you got to make sure he can function and feel confident.
All right, and we have Adam Schefter with us as we do every Thursday morning. Schefter, good morning. What is the latest on the situation with Drew Brees?
Well, good morning, Green. I think Sean Payton, the Saints head coach, said an awful lot there. The fact that he said that Drew Brees has a long ways to go, that he's not quite healthy yet, tells you that Taysom Hill is on track to start Sunday against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Saints did not want to bring back Brees until he's close to or at 100%. They did not want to bring him back until he's got close to full range of motion. Clearly, listening to Sean Payton there, it doesn't sound like he's close to 100% at this time, and it doesn't sound like he's got full range of motion. And if he doesn't have those two things, then it's going to be hard for them to put him into a spot where they believe he's compromised. And Taysom Hill has played pretty well. Did lose Sunday at Philadelphia, but before then had won 3 straight games. And so it sounds like it's tracking to be Taysom Hill versus Patrick Mahomes in this great late season matchup.
Okay, so let me keep Shefty with us as well as we bring in the rest of our crew this morning and say hello to Dominique Foxworth and Louis Riddick, who are here. And let's just start at the very top, and then I want to work my way through some of the other decisions. But, Louis, is it as simple as this? If the doctors clear Drew Brees, do you have any question about putting him back on the field?
No, Greeny, because the doctors are the professionals, and they're the ones who are in charge of safeguarding Drew's health. And, that's one of those situations where when you're talking about how information flows throughout an organization, when you're talking about player health, it has to be up to the medical staff to determine whether or not it's safe for a player to return to the field. General managers, coaches, they can't make those decisions. They're not doctors. They're not licensed medical professionals. So if they say he can play, you have to trust that when you set up your organization in the first place that they're going to give you the right advice. So if they say he's ready to go, you put him out there. If they say he's not, you don't. It's really that simple. It's black and white to me.
Okay, so that's good. So, Dominique, let me come over to you on that thought then, because they got 3 weeks left in the season. You have a lot to play for. You were making the point this morning. This game and these last 3 games are critically important to the Saints.
Yeah, I mean, they feel like almost playoff games because the Saints need to get that first round bye. It's obviously a quicker path to the Super Bowl for anyone to get a bye, but with an aging quarterback, the fewer games you can play, the more important it is to get that, to secure that situation. So I feel Lewis on that one. I think you want to get Drew out there as quickly as possible, and we understand that Taysom Hill has won several games and has played better, frankly, better than I expected him to play. But we also need to understand that they played a team that had a receiver playing quarterback. They also played the Falcons, and then they lost to a team last week whose quarterback was in his first start. So I'm not sure, as many games as they've won, I'm not sure that this team is feeling all that confident about a Taysom Hill-led game into Kansas City.
So there's 2 pieces of this I want to pick up on. Let's pick up on that one first. Shefty, we had a discussion here yesterday. Considering the offense they're going up against this weekend, do you know if there was any thought given, if there has been any thought given inside the organization to going with Jameis Winston this weekend, who, while obviously turnover prone, might give them the opportunity to be more explosive than Hill does?
You're not the first person to ask me that question, Greeny, but I don't believe it's been a conversation that's come up with any frequency or any meaning within the Saints organization. I think they really like Taysom Hill an awful lot, despite the fact that they lost Sunday against the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think Taysom Hill is going to continue to be the quarterback until Drew Brees comes back, whenever that is. And you mentioned it's critical to win these games down the stretch, but it's more critical to have your 40-plus something-year-old quarterback fully healthy and ready for the postseason when that begins. And so they're going to give him that time. And when they designate him to return off injury reserve, a lot of times what you see around the league is teams doing this to ramp up the players, to get them acclimated, to get them ready to come back. Not necessarily that first week, like this week for Drew Brees and the Saints, but in the upcoming weeks.
That's fair, and it is a good point. However, on the other side, I would like to give you an illustration of just how important it is to them to get the #1 seed, not because they need the bye, as much as they need not to have to go to Lambeau Field. If you're wondering what Lambeau Field in January is like, I present for you Exhibit A. That was Tom Coughlin's face. So if you think a 41-year-old quarterback needs to be playing in that, coming back from 11 broken ribs and a punctured lung a month from now, I think it is less important to get the bye than it is to make sure that game is not played at Lambeau Field, Shefty.
Greeny, and the Giants won that game. And the
Yes.
Giants won that game. And that was with fans in the stands, which there won't be this year. So there are a lot of differences. Nobody wants to go to Lambeau Field as an opposing team in January. But as we've established before, this is a different team. Tom Coughlin, his cheeks were red, the smoke was coming out of his mouth, everyone froze. Giants won the game. Giants won the game, okay?
They did.
And New Orleans would love to have a chance to play in the conference championship again, even if it were in Green Bay.
Mike's just going for a joke there. Adam, you got to take everything so seriously. It was pretty funny.
Not only that, I think the Packers would rather play that game in New Orleans. I think with no fans there, I don't think anyone wants to be sitting out there. There's a lot here I want to come back to, but let me bookmark it. I want to get on to the next manner of business, but there's a lot more to come back to, I think, on this New Orleans business, and we will. But let's get to another legendary quarterback, and that's the one in Tampa. Buccaneers head coach Bruce Arians has been publicly critical of Tom Brady on several occasions this year, but he's changed his tune of late. Listen to this yesterday as Arians came to Brady's defense regarding his play in Sunday's win over Minnesota.
I don't know why anybody's criticizing Tom. I mean, what he did at the end of the half and to start the second half is very, very few teams can score 17 points in a matter of 5 or 6 minutes. No matter if we don't make a first down on the first 2 third downs, I don't care if we finish the half with 17 points. I don't give a shit how we start. I mean, yeah, he's not getting enough credit for what he's doing.
Well, that's a remarkable turn of events. So Shefty, let me start again with you. You reported over the weekend on Countdown about a golf outing. Take us through that, the Arians-Brady relationship and what we know of it.
Well, I know that we give this topic an awful lot of traction, but I'm just telling you what the people in the building say, and the people in the building there in Tampa are adamant that Tom and Bruce get along very well, and get along very well to the point where over the bye weekend, they had a tee time set up along with Rondé Barber and Clyde Christensen to play golf together. The NFL nixed the idea, which, again, Bruce Arians commented was kind of ridiculous in the sense that you could be on a practice field for a couple of hours with a player, you could be in meetings with a player, but you can't ride in separate golf carts on a golf course together. And so they couldn't get to play golf together as they wanted to and planned to during the bye weekend. And again, if you didn't like somebody, would you be playing golf with them during your free bye week? I mean, it's just a logical question.
I've played a lot of golf with people I can't stand, but that's a whole other topic for a whole other time. Let me come to you because the overriding point is a good one. We have spent so much time psychoanalyzing these two and this relationship and everything else. As we sit here with 3 weeks left in the season, Louis Riddick, how do you assess where the Buccaneers are right now and where they can be when the playoffs start?
Well, I think where they are right now is a team that, although Bruce says that they can do whatever the hell they want, I think that was exactly what he said as far as their identity is concerned. I think, yeah, they can try to do whatever they want. I think that they are, though, still trying to find their way as we head into late December and early January. And we know that what they need to do, we know that they need to be more balanced. We know that they need to let the offense run through the passing game to some degree. We know that they need to let Tom Brady attack the middle of the field and emphasize the short and intermediate passing game. When they do those things, this offense looks much more efficient. When it's bombs away and lots of drop back pass, 5-step drops, and just throwing the ball down the field, that's when they get into trouble. That's when Bruce starts making comments like Tom was getting confused reading coverages. Tom's not taking care of the football. That's when the extremes come, and that's when we start psychoanalyzing them. On the defensive side, look, this is a team that has a young secondary. That's all I'm going to say. You gotta watch this secondary as they get into the playoffs and they play against the high-powered teams. You saw how they melted down against Kansas City. Todd Bowles has his work cut out for him against the better passing teams. So I think really the book is still out. I think we got to see what this team is going to be because I don't really know.
You know, Dominique, they've been the most interesting team in the NFL basically since March, right? From the moment Tom Brady decided to go there. Now we're really getting to the time where the rubber meets the road. What do you see in them, and where will they be a month from now?
Yeah, I mean, I think the inconsistency is a problem. They will not be in the championship game. It's not out of the question that they could win a playoff game or two, but I don't see them going to the Super Bowl. This team is far too inconsistent. And the question that Bruce received was about the team's identity. And it seems like when you say we can do whatever we want, suggests that you don't have one thing that you feel like you can hang your hat on. So I think Bruce Arians recognizes that right now is the time to build up the confidence of his team as they're heading into the final stretch and in the playoffs, and that's why he's saying what he's saying. But I think in an honest moment, he doesn't feel as confident as he wanted to this preseason when he brought in Tom Brady and they started bringing in all these star big-name players. I think he would have thought that he would feel a lot better about the playoffs right about now.
But that is the point you were making at our meeting this morning, was that the comments feel like a coach who's getting his team ready for the stretch run, right? That maybe we should not pay so much attention to it because they feel like a lot of things we hear a lot of coaches say in the beginning of December.
Absolutely. I think that one thing I like about Bruce Arians is it seems like he understands when he's talking to the media, it's not his job to give the media the sound bite that they want. It's his job to accomplish some sort of goal. And I think early in the season, his purpose was to bring Tom Brady down to the level of all his players and also kind of humble the team, break them down, if you will. And right now, we're in the build your team up phase. So I respect the way that Bruce Arians handles the media, and I respect what he's just done. Though I don't agree with him, I think it's the right thing to say and the right thing to do as you're heading into the playoffs.
We're just getting rolling here. We have a lot more NFL news, and Shefty, let's run through a bunch of it here if we can as we run the hurry up. And let's start with Alex Smith. How's he?
Well, Greeny, he didn't practice yesterday, has the calf injury that he suffered on Sunday against the 49ers. Ron Rivera, the Washington football coach, said that Alex Smith doesn't have to practice to start Sunday. But the longer he doesn't practice, the more time he misses at practice this week, the more you wonder if Dwayne Haskins will be the starting quarterback for the Washington football team. As for the New York Giants and their quarterback in the same division, Daniel Jones, also is nursing a sprained ankle in addition to the hamstring injury that caused him to miss the game at Seattle. Sprained the ankle against Arizona, was sacked repeatedly, took a lot of abuse. They have not yet decided whether Daniel Jones will be good to play on Sunday night in a flex primetime game against the Cleveland Browns. And how about the Las Vegas Raiders kicking off Week 15 tonight at home? They fired their defensive coordinator, Paul Gunther, this week. It's a defense that's leaked oil the last month, averaging over 30 yards a game or 30 points per game given up. Tonight they'll be without 4 defensive starters. No Cleve Farrell, no Damon Arnett, no Jonathan Abram. A lot of players out of the defense on a unit that already was struggling as it tries to slow down the Los Angeles Chargers in Vegas tonight, Greeny.
They've actually given up 150 points in their last 4 games. So their defense has been just terrible. Meanwhile, Shefty, there was one other report that you had yesterday that certainly caught all of our attention. What can you tell us about our friend, Mr. Riddick?
Well, listen, we have him on the set here right now, so I don't know why you would need to come to me first to flush out the facts, but I'm happy to do that. The great Louis Riddick interviewed yesterday with the Houston Texans for the GM job. He's got an upcoming interview for the Detroit Lions GM job, and let's go to the man himself to share more details about it.
Louis, what would you like to tell us?
No, look, these are tremendous opportunities to talk to these football teams about where they're at in their program, where I'm at as far as, how I feel about the opportunity to talk to them about these things. Look, I have the greatest job in the world. I'm on the most iconic brand in all of broadcasting on Monday. I think everybody knows that these are opportunities that I've always been open to listen to, provided that it's something that fits with what I kind of ideally see as an ideal fit in terms of being a general manager. And I mean, I'm very, very just kind of, I'm taken aback and just very humbled and honored to be able to talk to some of these franchises. And the conversation was great last night, and we'll just see what happens going forward.
All right, so I will say two things. One, on behalf of all of us at ESPN, I hope whatever it is you want to happen, happens. Two, we already lost Damian Woody today because he has no power, so I can't have you leave in the next hour and 45 minutes. Sorry, whatever else happens, for the next hour and 45 minutes, I need you.
I'm not going anywhere, man.
Okay, fair
I'll be
enough.
right here.
Hey, Lewis Riddick with us. Yeah, Shefty.
It's been a tough season for Damian. I mean, he's got a lot of stuff going on here. Power, all kinds of things at his house. He's tough guy to count on for a guy that's been so regular during the course of his NFL career.
It's tough keeping the power on in a mansion that big.
I would say that. Yes, D. Wood, I'm very unimpressed with his internet service in general, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, guys, stay with me. Coming back to you. But the big story from the NBA is this: the future of James Harden with the Rockets. Yesterday, Harden avoided directly answering any questions about his desire for a trade out of Houston during his media availability. Here's what he said.
Right now, I'm just focused on being here. Today was good. Yesterday felt really good being out there. The first time since the bubble. I haven't really had an opportunity to do a lot of 5-on-5 work, but for my first time being out there, I think I felt pretty good.
James, what was the point that you were trying to get across when you went to Atlanta and Vegas?
I was just training.
What were you training for?
The start of the NBA season.
How did going to Atlanta and Vegas help you there when the Rockets were starting training camp in Houston?
Just my personal trainers.
All right, so that's sort of how that went yesterday. And then here was the required reading. If you didn't see the piece from Tim McMahon on ESPN.com, you really need to read it. There's so much in here. I'll just read you little snippets. The James Harden era, which bridges 2 owners and now 4 head coaches, might best be summed up by a former staffer's 3 words: whatever James wants. There's another one in which a former assistant coach says we knew who the boss of the organization was. There's another that says if they have multiple days off, James is going to fly somewhere else and party, but he's going to come back and have a 50-point triple-double, so they're okay with it. So much to digest. Again, highly recommend that you go to ESPN.com and read it. In the meantime, here's the big fella. Kendrick Perkins is live with me on Get Up. Big Perk, as you read all of that, what was your reaction to the story about James Harden?